Guys, welcome back to Level Up Your Leadership with me, John Barrett, your coach, your trainer, the one who's going to help you get to another level in your influence, in your impact. Today, I want to talk to you guys about the 5 whys. This is huge. I love teaching this when I work with teams, with individuals on how to problem solve and get better in what they do. When you learn the 5 whys and how to utilize this to your advantage, it is going to change everything about the results that you get. So the 5 whys, Taiichi Ohno, who was a famous manufacturer and inventor and basically created the whole Toyota production system, the thing that changed the known world when it came to manufacturing. Taiichi Ohno created this idea of the 5 whys. And it basically was this process that you go through whenever you're faced with a challenge or a problem or you're hit with an obstacle to get to the root issue. Now, he talked about many years ago that the only way that you're ever going to solve a problem and actually get better is by getting to the root problem. If you don't get to the root problem of what's the problem behind the problem, you're never going to solve the problem. And therefore, you're always just going to deal with symptoms and never really get to the root of it and solve it and be done with it. So he created this thing called the 5 whys, and basically it was just kind of an arbitrary number of you've got to go through asking why at least 5 times before you get to the root of an issue. Now, this is huge because if you think about it, when we think about a problem and we want to solve this problem and figure out why we've got a problem, right? We see the problem right here. It's a big glaring bad thing, whatever it may be in your organization. Maybe it's an issue that you're facing, an obstacle, whatever it may be. Maybe it's a person, whatever it is. And you've got a problem. Basically, what Taiichi Ohno said is that if you just deal with the problem right there on the surface, you're never going to solve it. It's always going to keep coming back up. It's going to kind of keep growing. It's just going to keep sprouting up. Because the problem is way under here in the root system. It's down here. That's where the real problem lies, is at this kind of layers underneath the surface. So as a leader, you've got to understand how to kind of get down and how to get a shovel, if you will, and this shovel that you've got, how to dig into the ground and go through these sort of 5 layers until you hit the rock bottom. Now, how this works is by asking the question over here, why? And when you ask that, you don't just start at the surface, you work your way and you keep asking that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times or more, or sometimes you'll hit it a little bit earlier. Now, let me give you a good example of this. Years ago, I had a client reach out to me, and they literally had one of their employees who was having a hard time getting the work on time consistently. And he was a great guy, but they just had issues with it. So they contacted me and said, John, we want you to work with him, coach him, some other people in our organization and that. So I remember I sat down with this guy and I said, hey, why? That was my first question, kind of the first layer. Hey, you're getting to work late. There's a problem. Hey, listen, what's going on? Why? Why are you coming to work late? And I'll never forget, he responded and he basically said, well, I always sleep through my alarm. I never wake up. And so I'm getting up late and I got to, rush into the office and all that. Now, I could have stopped there and I could have said, okay, well, that's the first layer. Well, come on, get more discipline, man. Come on, pull it together. Get to work on time. Grow up. Come on, all that. I could have said that. I could have said, put more alarms. Put 3 alarms around your room so you got to get up, all that stuff. But it wouldn't have solved the problem because it wasn't the root issue, which we came to find out later. So I kept going. I went to that next layer of why. And I said, well, why? Why are you coming into work late? Or why are you missing your alarm because you're so tired in the morning? And he said, well, because I'm up really late. I'm only getting about 2 or 3 hours of sleep a night. I go to bed about 3 in the morning and I got to get up around 5 or 6 and go to work. And I'm so tired I missed the alarm. So I said, okay, now I could have said, well, get to bed earlier. What's wrong with you, you hooligan? Right? But I didn't. I said, okay, well, talk to me about why are you staying up so late? So I went to kind of the third why. Why are you staying up so late and not getting to bed earlier? And this is what he said. He said, well, I'm bringing all my work home from the day. I'm not getting everything done at night, and so literally I get back home, I kind of rest, I get dinner, and I clock back in around 9 or 10 o'clock, and I'm up till 3 in the morning trying to get all my tasks done for work. Now we're starting to get somewhere, right? This guy wasn't undisciplined or something where up here, but I said, okay, well, talk to me about that. I went to that 4th level. Why are you bringing your work home all the time and not getting it done during the day? And he basically said, well, I get interruptions all the time. And where my desk sits, I sit literally between our sales department and our operations. And these guys are always going at it, right? They got questions, and it was an open kind of format office setting. And he said, I'm being called in the meetings and getting distracted, getting caught in the conversations. I just can't focus during the day, so I get nothing done during the day, and I got to bring it all home for the night. So literally, my 8-hour day is all done in the evening, and my 8-hour day is filled up with all kinds of stuff. Now we're getting somewhere, guys. You get the point. Hang with me for a minute. So I could have said right there, well, come on now, just try to get rid of those distractions, and you got to get focused. You got to tune them out. But we didn't. This is what we did. I said, well, what could we do? Why is that happening there? What could we do to change some things? Long story short, this is what we did. Literally, we moved his desk. He put in a request to move his desk to the corner of the office space. Literally, he moved his desk almost immediately, like the next few days. He talked to me and he said, John, I've been getting all my work done during the day. All because he moved his desk to the corner and got it away from all those distractions. So I share that because that's the power of the 5 whys. I would have never got there. He would have never got there. We would have never got to that solution to solve this problem if we didn't get to that root issue, which was a desk placement. A desk placement. Everybody thought he was just being lazy up here. Just get to work on time. Come on, you know, what's wrong with you? All this stuff. The issue was literally down here with a desk. And when he changed his desk, it changed everything. Now, I share this with you because if you want to utilize this as Tai Chi Ono taught, then you got to understand that you can run the 5 whys through anything. You can do this with yourself. If you're faced with an issue and you say, well, why am I doing that? Why do I respond this way when so-and-so comes to me? Why am I always so frustrated with them? Well, I think it's because of this. Well, why? You can ask yourself, just run yourself through the 5 whys until you get to the root issue of what it is. They utilize this all the time with people that want to get more disciplined and work out in the morning or something like that, but they're having a hard time. They'll say, well, why don't you? Well, you know, I'm in bed. It feels so good. I don't want to get out of bed in the morning and that. Okay, well, what if we laid your clothes out? What if we did this? Why this? Why this? Why this? And they just eliminate all the excuses till they get down to the real root issue, and then that creates motivation, discipline. All of a sudden now people start having better results because they're actually dealing with the root issues, not just the surface ones. So I want you to utilize this with your team. Whenever you're faced with issues, if you're one-on-one with someone and you're leading them and they come back to you and they give you a problem or they say, well, I've hit a block right here. You just keep saying, why? Well, why? Well, tell me why. Why is that happening? Why did that take place? If you'll just keep doing that strategically, you'll start to get them down to the root. Now, let me give you a little indicator on when you know you're getting to the good stuff. The first 1, 2, sometimes even 3 layers are quick answers. If someone's just giving you quick answers of why it took place, you're still kind of in the surface. Once people start to slow down and go, that's a good question. I don't know. Once they start kind of, hitting a block a little bit, that's when you know you're hitting the gold right there. That's when you know you're going to start drilling through to the real root issue. When they have to think about it, when they've got to really self-assess and they've got to really reflect and they've got to really say, wow, I never really thought about it, but maybe it's this. That's when you know you're getting to that kind of gold area right there, that golden star, we'll call it, where you're getting to the real root issue, and that's where the solutions lie. You want to change your results up here, you got to dig into the 5 whys down there and get to the root. Once you get to the root, you're going to know how to deal with it, and you're going to be able to move forward. You're going to be able to do all kinds of things. Albert Einstein was asked years ago and about solving problems and that. And this is basically what he said. I'm going to paraphrase. But he said, if I had an hour to solve the world's problems and life depended on it, I'd spend the first 55 minutes thinking of the right questions to ask, because once I got the right question, then I could solve it in 5 minutes. And I think, wow, it's almost like this, 55 minutes of digging through the whys until you get to that root right there. And in 5 minutes, once you get to the root, you can solve issues like that. So I want you to think about this, the 5 whys. Start utilizing it in your team. Expose them to this video. Walk them through it. Talk about it. Use this kind of tool as something in your tool belt, in your toolbox, so that you can begin to get better results in what you do and deal with problems at their root so that you can begin to actually overcome them and wipe them out totally and get to better results. Guys, I hope this was helpful. Go to johnbarrettleadership.com for all kinds of other resources. I got books, podcasts, other videos, all kinds of resources to help you get better and level up in your leadership.
Reach out to us today so we can help take you and your team to the next level.